Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Be More Balanced. It's your host, Jalen Porter, and I welcome you into the space. I thank you for joining me, and we're going to tap into some of the energies and the frequencies of today. Today, tomorrow, this week, this month, this year, whenever you hear this message, I hope that it resonates with you. There's some horses in the back, so if I'm a little distracted, that's why. Hopefully they won't necessarily come up, or if they do, I invite them to come into the conversation too. So today and yesterday, and I would say over the last couple of days, the energy has been hefty, weighted, and that's not necessarily a bad thing or a negative thing, but I want to acknowledge the presence of this energy. We have a lot going on in our outer space, and when I say outer space, not necessarily above yet in the ethers or the stars. I'm talking about on our worldly stage, right? And one of the beautiful things about that is we get to dive deeper into how that might trigger us and what might come up for us. And over the last couple of days, for me, the stark awareness or frequency or energy of, I'm a little distracted, this horse is pooping, it's okay, of literally that shit coming out, shit hitting the fan. That's, is you can't ignore it. And what many may call Babylon or the Matrix is prevalent. And it's crumbling, and it's a beautiful thing, and in which and why it's crumbling. You know why? Because when you break something down, when something is crumbling, you have no choice but to face it and move forward with a new foundation. So although it's a little scary in some aspects, or rather intimidating, I would prefer to say, that's okay, because whether we want to or not, we all are playing a role in the chessboard of this game. And it's up to us, each of us individually, to acknowledge what role are we playing? What role are you playing? And what role are you playing in relation to those in your sphere, in your circle, in your community, maybe the people that you work with, right? And so what's come up for me is the fact that I always have to remind myself sometimes and acknowledge that I chose to be here. I chose to come here in this time plane in existence. I chose to incarnate in this specific family. I chose to be present on earth. And there's this term or phrase that you may or may not heard before, but I resonate with the frequency and understanding that we are in something of samsara, or the continuous illusion of Maya. Some like to say that we are in the underworld, or like the death realm. Not to say that we are literally dead, because we are alive, but in many sense we are in a dream within a dream within a dream, right? And I know there's layers and levels to that, but stick with me. What I mean by that is, I dreamt last night, and one of my missions every time I go into the dream world or the astral plane is to become lucid, is to become aware of myself dreaming within itself. And the other night, last night, when I dreamt this time, usually there's a trick that you can do that I learned about when you're in a dream to awaken yourself, or to remind yourself that you are sleeping, especially when it comes to quote unquote nightmares or night terrors, or let's just say an uncomfortable experience, is to touch the center of your palm. Because they say that if you touch the center of your palm, I didn't make this up, that your hand in the dream is going to, or your fingers will go through it. Because there's no solidness necessarily in that dream world, right? Or they'll tell you to flicker the lights on the wall on and off, right? So typically I've done that before. I've awakened within a dream, realized and told myself, okay, you're sleeping. You want to test it out that this is not reality? go to that wall and flicker that light on and off, or do like this and see if your fingers go through. Right? They should. This time in this dream, I did that, and it was like this. And I said, oh, okay, God, okay, universe. So you're telling me this dream is becoming a little bit more sturdy and solid than I realized. I've taken for granted a little bit what we're actually creating and simulating within these dream worlds. Now I'm still processing that, so that's neither quote unquote good or bad in my reality. I'm figuring that out. But I bring that to the forefront because has that ever happened to you? Or are you realizing that our dream worlds and realms are really merging? And I've realized this for some years now, but that dream reminded me how solid our dream realms in different timelines are solidifying. And the solidification of these dreams, to me, are significant because the different timelines that we exist upon, the decisions that we are making on this one are going to have, to me, a more solid significance of a ripple effect in the roles in which we are playing on different timelines. And they too will have a more solidified ripple effect on the timelines in which we are encompassing and standing in today. And why does that matter? Because this timeline is collapsing in a way in which the old structure or shelter or building is no longer able to hold up its casing because of the medicine or the ways in which we are playing our roles with each other. Like, they're different. We are choosing to awaken. I know that's kind of a cliche word, but reawaken and continue to awaken. Because there's a difference when you awake one time, right? When a lot of people indulge in substances, right? Whether that be like an ayahuasca journey or shrooms or things like that, like psychedelics, right? Mind-altering substances where they have this aha moment. But then there'll be times where the ego will then regress. We'll go back because we're in the Maya. We're in this illusionary world that, because of our ego and our soul, loves to indulge in things which are very much so connected and intertwined with other spirits and other energies and other ancient ancestors that are inside of us, right? I look to the Maya for that, the Mayan culture, not the Maya, but the Mayan culture, right? So we like things. We like things. We like to indulge in things. You know what I'm saying? Like, my ego and my spirit like ice cream. You know what I'm saying? So the point that I'm making is what many of us once found acceptable, and they might have been vices, the ego was like, ooh, actually, that's smelling like shit. It's smelling like decay. And now I need to face it. The ways in which you responded and you reacted to certain things, the ways in which you played your specific role on the chessboard is no longer resonating with what you are making solid in those other realms, in those other timelines, in your dream realm, because they are becoming for real. And it's important to tap into practices such as that, or to wake up at the witching hours, right? Because the only reason why I was really able to remember and recognize what had happened in my dream world is because I woke up at 2 a.m. and then I woke up at 4 a.m. out of that dream realm and consciously wrote down the things and then meditated on the things at that hour and at that time, because everybody else is sleeping. So if in fact something went on in that dream realm that you didn't necessarily like or resonate with, and you like, ooh, I ain't really feeling that. Remember, our subconscious reality, those realms, are also a form of therapy for our minds, so that we remember and don't regress when we come back into this reality in this timeline. Because again, don't quote me on it, or you can't quote me on it, I meant to say. But we are traversing through realities in which they are becoming more solid in one regard, in one way, and they are also crumbling in another way, so that the poison can also be the medicine, and they can merge into something much more solidifying for our essence, but not necessarily too solid and rigid, if you get what me I say, right? Like right now we live in a very dense, rigid society. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, so-called being manipulated by different frequencies and entities and, you know, governmental powers, right? But because the consciousness is raising up and rising up inside of all of us, right? That kundalini rising inside of you, that sacral chakra, that chi, that creative essence, that force, that energy, that sexual energy, our traumas, our triggers, that so-called once upon a time poison that we consumed and is a part of that portion of that dense society, because we came into this reality and agreed upon it. Now we are awaking in this dream realm and deciding to change some things, to rearrange some things. Like when you rearrange some furniture in a room, or you take some clothes and you're like, I ain't worn this in the last 2 years. Why do I still have this? Or I ain't worn this in the last 6 months. Or this is not me, this is not my style, this doesn't resonate with me, this material is not conducive to me and my energy it's, you know what I'm saying? So you throw it out. Like me, not my entire wardrobe, but essentially I realized that when I learned about the frequency of certain synthetic materials versus 100% cotton, and how it reacts to our bodies, because we are electric beings, and organic cotton and things like that are much higher on the scale of promoting a certain frequency within our very beings and essence. I threw everything out. I was like, oh, you ain't gotta tell me twice. Now, of course, you know, I did it in moderation and took my time. I ain't just throw, you know, my whole wardrobe out when I didn't have anything. But now when somebody wants to buy me something, or I'm looking to buy something, or I'm in a store, rarely the mall, but if I'm in a place in space where I'm shopping, your girl's looking at the tag and I'm reading everything. If you see me in a store, I pull up the tag, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, what is this made from? Right? What are the materials? So we are becoming undone. We are unraveling like fabrics, right? And we are taking what matters and what is valuable to us and what aligns best with who we are, because everything that I do is not going to resonate with you who's watching this video. But I know there is something in your reality, in your wardrobe, in your toolkit, where you're like, I used to really vibe with this, but now I'm shedding that. Or maybe you're like, I used to really vibe with that, and now I'm bringing it back. And that's okay. Give yourself permission to navigate the waters of this world and this realm that we are consistently filtering ourselves in and changing, because that's what water does best. That's what oceans and rivers do, right? They filter themselves out regularly. That's what a woman does every 28 days on her cycle, and in between and in some. We do that. We do this in the change of the different seasons. So I don't want to make this any longer, honestly, but I so appreciate and thank you. If you resonate with this message, because we're talking about murky waters and things like that, drop me a lotus emoji. If you're feeling what I'm saying, if you resonate what I'm saying, drop me a little lotus emoji. Let me know that you're here. And I appreciate you for tuning in. I like you. I love you. And if you're interested in going a little bit further on some of my more exclusive content, check out my Patreon. I'll drop the link in the description box. And I look forward to speaking with you soon.